Now, in a previous week, we talk about how you can prepare for your retirement. Now, we invited Sonali Rodrigo, the director of Tomorrow Financial Solutions, once again to talk more details about the retirement planning, because we got a lot of feedback from our viewers. So we thought of giving you more opportunity to get further details from Sonali. Sonali, welcome back to Sri Lanka Morning Show program.
Thank you.
Now, Sonali, first tell us, what are the sources of income people can expect in their retirement?
Yes, Tushar. One of the main sources would be obviously your superannuation savings that you've saved up throughout the course of your working life. Another one would be any investments that you have outside super. So let's say you have an investment property, any other savings or share investments or things like that, that can provide income, passive income. Another source of income is obviously the age pension offered through Centrelink.
Right.
So that a lot of people are actually dependent on. If you haven't really planned for your retirement properly, a lot of people end up just purely on that. There are other potential sources where people can, there's something called a reverse mortgage, where people can access the equity in their home while still living in the home. And then obviously part-time income if you are able to go out and work. So those are some of the things that people rely on after they retire from full-time work.
Right. Now, once someone is retired, what are the things that they should be aware of?
There are some of the things that people should be mindful of is obviously something we call longevity risk. So that is the risk of a person outliving their retirement savings. Now, with advances in modern medicine, people are living a lot longer, so people might not anticipate that their retirement could last over 20 years. Now, when you think about it, if you retire at age 65 and you live past 85, that is a 20-year period that you have to make sure that you can live without your normal salary coming in. So a lot of people I find have very poor planning, had done very poor planning in pre-retirement years, which affects their retirement years. So another thing that I see a lot is people put all of their superannuation, move it all into defensive investments as soon as they retire, without thinking about the fact that there's 20 years more that they need to have this superannuation last for. So that means in the lower interest rate environment that we're in now, with term deposits paying, 1 or maximum 2%, it's very hard to keep up with inflation as well. So people need to think about at least investing some of their money in growth assets where it can give you income as well as growth, so that then you can potentially stretch out the period of time that your investments last.
Can you give us some examples? What sort of methods that they can, what sort of investment methods are available for them?
So typically what we recommend to our clients is to have it in 3 buckets. So you have a short-term bucket, a medium-term bucket, and a long-term bucket. So in the short-term bucket, you can have defensive investments like term deposits, where it's very certain there's no chance of the capital going down, and you know for sure that it can last you, say, for a 3 to 5 period of time, years of time. The medium-term bucket might be between 5 to 10 years, where there's reasonable growth, but there's also not a lot of risk. You don't take a lot of risks with that bucket. Whereas the long-term bucket might be things like shares or managed funds or exchange-traded funds, where you have the potential for capital growth, where the value of those investments go up in value, and also they give you things like dividend income. So you need to have a mix of all these 3.
Pretty much you are dispersing the risk.
That's right. You're diversifying your investments and having it, because keeping in mind, like what I said, the longevity risk, because if you have all of this in like defensive bucket, you're not going to get a lot of growth. So you're just essentially going to use up that money and then run out of it halfway down in your retirement. So that's something that people need to think about, which I find a lot of clients haven't thought about. So that's one of the strategies that you should be thinking about in retirement.
And this is a very complicated topic. I'm pretty sure a lot of our viewers, they may have no idea how they should, plan their retirement. Now, if they want to get more information or some professional guidelines or consultation, how they can get more information?
Yeah, so usually I advise a lot of people to see a financial advisor when you're planning your retirement, because there's a lot of things people don't know in this space. There's a lot of complicated strategies that you can use. I mean, Centrelink in itself is quite complicated. The age pension, your entitlements towards it, you need to be mindful that there's an asset test and an income test when you get assessed for age pension, and a lot of the things that you do outside super, for example, affect all of those tests now. And we say to clients, work part-time and supplement your income, but then you also need to be mindful that income then gets assessed towards your income test in the age pension. There's something we call the work bonus as well, where the government encourages you to work a little bit more without it affecting your age pension. There's a lot of things that you need to be mindful of, because one thing affects the other. So you need to make sure that what you're doing is the most optimized solution for you. Now, if people are unable to see a financial planner for whatever reason, there's a lot of resources on moneysmart.gov.au. It's a website that's run by ASIC. There's a lot of information that you can read there, and also obviously the Centrelink websites have information about the age pension and asset and income tests and things like that. So yeah, that's another resource that people can use.
Are there anything else people should consider in their retirement?
Tushara, so even if you're not eligible to get the age pension or the full age pension, you might be eligible to get other entitlements, such as discounted travel, concession cards for discounted medicine, discounted rates. So always make sure that you speak to your Centrelink office, possibly before you retire as well, so that you're across all of the criteria that they look for, and to make sure that you're maximizing all of your entitlements. Another thing that I advise clients to do is go to the moneysmart.gov.au website. It has something called a budget planner. So make sure you put in all of your expenses and things so that you can get a clear idea of where you will be spending your money in retirement. I find a lot of clients spend a lot of money on travel and things like that in the beginning of their retirement, but then tend to run out of money towards the end. So it's always good to have a proper plan and always have a clear idea of where you're going to be spending your money.
I think our viewers got quite a lot of valuable information today. Now, thank you very much, Sonali, for sharing this information. And we would like to have you once again to discuss about something relating to our day-to-day lives. Thank you.
My pleasure.